He's Carnage's son, which makes him Venom's grandson. We're talking about Patrick Mulligan, aka Toxin. Hi, I'm Nanto, and in this series, I take a character from Marvel Comics, I talk about their history, their power set, their personality, and I give you some reading recommendations. And this is all because this week this character is being introduced into the collectible card game, Marvel Snap. Most of it, though, is talking about the character, and Toxin is an interesting one. He's a relatively new character, but he's had a pretty big impact in the symbiote community, and he's become a fan favorite. Alright, so you talked about it throughout the season. A lot of symbiotes have merged with other symbiotes and given birth to new symbiotes. From all of the secondary offspring, the most well-known might be Toxin, this week's card, and the son of Carnage. His origin takes place during the Venom vs. Carnage miniseries when, after Toxin's birth, Carnage started to fear his new child. This whole thing comes back to the idea that the 1000th symbiote born in a row is going to be extra powerful. So Carnage is worried because he is symbiote 999 and his son is going to be symbiote 1000. It doesn't matter. In the long-term symbiote lore, I don't think this has come up again. So Carnage tries to destroy the symbiote, explodes it, buries it, nothing works. Eventually, Carnage bonds the symbiote to a character named Patrick Mulligan. He's a police officer, and Carnage's plan is basically just, I'll kill this guy later. But it doesn't work because Venom shows up and tries to protect Toxin so he can raise his grandson to be a stronger symbiote and use Toxin to help fight Carnage and Spider-Man. Spider-Man also gets involved in this fight, and the whole thing ends with Spider-Man and Toxin fighting Venom and Carnage. In the end of the story, Mulligan embraces this whole I have to be a hero and protect the people I love, so he leaves his family, tells them he's going to do something very important, can't tell them what it is, and he becomes Toxin. So Toxin was pretty popular. Marvel launched a 6-issue Toxin limited series where Toxin fought a bunch of villains who had escaped from the raft as part of the New Avengers run that Bendis was doing. It's important to note, this is the story where Sentry kills Carnage, and this is where we see what Patrick and Toxin working together is like. And it's different than the vibe you get from our main two other symbiotes, Venom and Carnage. Mostly because Patrick Mulligan is not very violent. He very actively does not want to hurt people, where Eddie, when he gets a symbiote, is all about revenge, and Cletus Cassidy is like a serial killer. So if you put those people in a symbiote that's going to work with and enhance their emotions, they're going to become more dangerous. But Patrick tries to pull his symbiote back from the edge. And also, this Toxin symbiote is more of like a baby. Like, it feels like Patrick is talking to like a 7-year-old child. The Toxin symbiote will say, I want to kill. And Patrick will say, no, we don't kill people. And Toxin will say, but I wanna. And then Patrick will say, no. That's kind of what we're getting from these two. Patrick is training Toxin to become a more reasonable symbiote. Toxin fights villains like King Cobra, the Wrecker, and Razor Fist. The villain killed his father, who Patrick did not kill, which proved that he was a new kind of symbiote. One that could be an actual good guy. Also worth noting, the Toxin costume, very interesting looking. The top half, a glossy flat red, which goes to the abdomen and makes a drippy kind of Carnage goo with a black bottom half. So it really is like half Venom, half Carnage. Now I'm not sure why, but Toxin did not last much longer, at least not as Patrick. First, Blackheart got a hold of him and killed Patrick off screen and used the symbiote to create an army of warriors. Also, this is worth noting, Blackheart, if you're not familiar, son of Mephisto, he's that guy from Marvel vs. Capcom. After Blackheart is defeated, Toxin symbiote was contained in a lab in Las Vegas, and then the Crime Master forced Eddie Brock to bond with Toxin, and they joined a new team that called themselves the Savage Six. We talked about this a little bit in the Agent Venom video. From that point on, Toxin was a pretty small player in the comics, especially since Eddie Brock started being Venom again by the end of the 2010s. Everything changed a little bit with the symbiote mega event, The King in Black, where Toxin was severely weakened and even rejected by Null during his invasion. In response to this, Toxin bonded with a new teenage host named Bren Waters, and this new Toxin returned to the original Patrick Mulligan roots and was a hero. The pair is, I believe, still currently together, and for the last 5 years they've fought a brood human hybrid, the evil corporation Alchemex, we talked about a couple of videos ago with Liz Allen, and they were part of the crossover event Extreme Carnage. Ever since their return, Toxin has managed to maintain a somewhat high-profile status in the symbiote side of Marvel Comics. They had a big thing in the Venom War story, which I don't want to spoil, but here Toxin and Dylan, Venom and Eddie's son, assemble various symbiote allies, including Normie Osborn, who we talked about a couple videos ago, Sleeper, and Flexo to confront Eddie in a father-son battle. Besides, like I usually say with these, probably showing up in some cartoon or something, the character Patrick Mulligan actually showed up in Venom Let There Be Carnage, played by the actor Stephen Graham. In this, he was just a cop who is investigating Carnage until the very end of the movie, where he gets a little bit of symbiote in him as a tease that he's going to be a symbiote later. We don't know how much Toxin is going to be in Venom The Last Dance. We've obviously seen that one shot of him in the trailer, but that's it. It's unclear if he's going to actually turn into full Toxin in this movie, and then if that happens, it's unclear if that's going to be something that moves forward. Because if this worked like it did in the comics, Toxin would be such a hit after Venom The Last Dance that he would become the new Venom. And nothing against Stephen Graham, but I don't think any other actor has whatever the hell Tom Hardy's doing. And that charisma is the only thing that makes these Venom movies watchable, so I doubt we're going to get a Toxin spin-off anytime soon. I do think it would be cool if we get to see him in the Toxin suit, but don't hold your breath, this is a Sony thing. As far as reading recommendations, I think you want to start with Toxin's first appearance, which is the first appearance of Patrick Mulligan. This is Venom vs. Carnage Volume 1, Issue 2. It's written by Peter Mulligan with art by Clayton Crane and Corey Petit. Then I'd say you probably want to read Toxin Volume 1, Issue 1. This is also written by Peter Mulligan with art by Derek Robertson, Rodney Ramos, Matt Milla, and Mike Sellers. And then if you want to see the first appearance of Bren, one of the more significant hosts for the Toxin symbiote, I would say check out King in Black Planet of the Symbiotes Volume 1, Issue 3. This is written by Rodney Barnes with art by Danilo Beyruth, Rachel Rosenberg, and Corey Petit. In Marvel Snap, Toxin is a 2-cost, 1-power card with the on-reveal ability, return your other cards here to your hand, plus 2 power for each returned. So on its face, it's very Beast-like. The card Beast works in a similar way. It's clearly something that you would expect to use in a bounce deck, but how does this relate to Venom or Carnage or any of the other symbiotes for that matter? I actually think this is pretty clever. Now, first of all, it is a very good Beast substitute. It doesn't reduce the costs of the cards when they come back to your hand, which is the one really good thing that Beast does. But like, if you could play this smart, especially because there's so many other options for getting you more power in turns, like Wiccans or even Sarah's, reducing the cost of cards, like, I think many bounce decks could benefit from Toxin, because also if you play Toxin on a lane with 3 other cards, Toxin is a 2/7, which could be huge. All right, so Venom, you put Venom on a lane, he destroys the cards in that lane, powers up Venom. Carnage is the same, although a little bit different. With Toxin, you put Toxin in a lane, and he saves the cards in that lane, and that powers him up. Because he's a good guy symbiote and not a bad guy symbiote, he powers up in a similar way, but instead of destroying cards, he protects them. Honestly, I think that's genius as a way to subvert how cards like Venom and Carnage work. Like most of the week so far, good variants coming out with this card. First of all, the Eduardo Mello Ryan Kennard variant. Very good. I think this is the one that best captures the difference in texture, because Toxin is like part Carnage, part Venom. I mean, he's really like part Venom via being part Carnage, because Carnage is already part Venom. But I do like that looking at the way his suit is split up, the top half that's red feels like it's a little slimier, whereas the bottom half that's black feels like it's got a little more of a flat color scheme to it, which does make it feel like it is 2 separate textures. And that's something that's almost always true of Toxin in the comics, so I like that it's here. Then you have the Pandart variant, which is gorgeous. Really like it. And then you have the Scotty Young variant for this one, where he's eating the Spider-Man Ice Pop, and I also think this one's great. I like that this one manages to get his yellow eyes. Neither of the other two. They both have the white eyes, but when Toxin was created, his eyes specifically look different from Venom and Spider-Man and Carnage. But all 3 of these are really good looking. This week also has some interesting spotlight caches. You have the reworked Zabu with a Sean Galloway variant, so it's like more cartoony, cat-like, cute. And then there is an Elsa Bloodstone that's a David Nakayama variant, which I really like. I think David Nakayama variants are great. Elsa Bloodstone is a card I don't think it's seen as much play as it used to, but with Toxin coming in, another bounce card, that could change things. So if you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. We have 2 more symbiotes to cover. Anti-Venom is next week, and then we'll also be doing Agony. I'm not sure exactly when that card is releasing, but somewhere around then. If you enjoyed these videos, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.